If San Francisco can win, like, what would you say is the most important thing that the 49ers can do on the other side of the ball to win and maybe sort of exact some of the demons from 4 years ago?
Oh, man. I mean, gosh, it's going to be – they're just going to have to find a way to score points. I think their best case scenario is they're just going to got to find a way, and this is their strategy, is to get the ball in the hands of their playmakers. Yeah. CMC's the guy. You got to get him the ball as much as you can, but you got playmakers on the outside too. So I mean, Kittle as well. Yep. I mean, you've got playmakers. So if they can protect Purdy and get him in a couple seconds to get the ball out quick to these guys, who knows? They could sustain drives and make it happen.
You know, my personal pick was 27-24 Chiefs, and I'll ask you for yours in a second here. I did not think about this until right now. Kittle might be one of like the 10 biggest WWE fans on planet Earth.
Oh, he's huge.
Is obsessed.
Yeah.
That might give them more of an advantage than I give him credit for. Do you have a pick for this one?
For the game?
Yeah.
I think the Chiefs win.
I know.
And it's because I just think Mahomes is the best player on the field.
Yeah.
And the defense is great. Yeah. Because Chiefs got a great defense, I think it's going to be a close game.
Yeah.
And because it's going to be a close game, I think you're going to get a chance for Mahomes to have the ball and go down and do what he does.
Yeah.
Or seal it, or take the game-winning drive. And so I just have a hard time betting against him. As much as I love George, he's the man.
Yep.
Kittle's awesome. I just have a hard time betting against Mahomes.
It just feels like they're so inevitable. There are just certain things in life that I just expect one of them is the Chiefs being there wherever the game is being played in February, of course, this year in Las Vegas. All right, let's get to the important stuff. Who cares about the Super Bowl?
Yeah.
Huge. Maybe the biggest Bears fan I know, right here, you. Huge offseason ahead. They make this trade last year that turns out to be probably one of the most valuable in NFL history.
Great trade.
Now having DJ Moore, Darnell Wright, the 9th pick last year, extra draft capital, and the first overall pick in the 2020 NFL draft. This is I would call this the kind of problem that they pay GMs a lot of money for, right?
Yeah.
They don't pay them to do the easy things. They pay them to do the hard things.
Correct.
The hard thing right now is to decide what to do with Justin Fields. What would you do if you're the Bears GM, Ryan Poles, for a day? Would you want to trade Justin Fields, or would you stick with it and commit more resources around him?
My gut, again, I am not a football executive. I just watch and I love the game.
Yep.
My gut tells me that you keep Justin Fields.
Okay, yeah.
You keep him. The progression has been good. Now, we're getting a new offensive coordinator next season, so that's not entirely ideal. But the team loves him. We've seen a growth in him over the years, and if you're going to draft a quarterback number one, yes, you're hoping, say it's Caleb Williams, Drake May, whoever, that it's going to be a C.J. Stroud situation.
Yeah.
But you can't. That rarely happens. That is rare.
Totally. Ask the Panthers, right?
Yes, ask
with
the
Bryce
Panthers.
Young.
And now look, the Texans were built different than Carolina. I mean, the structure was different there. Then Carolina lost a head coach in the middle of the season, the whole nine. But at the end of the day, a player like C.J. Stroud that performs the way he did doesn't happen every year. So if you draft at quarterback number one, your expectations are going to be lower than if you keep Justin Fields. And I think if you keep Fields and you build around him, the expectations got to go up from last season. And we had a pretty good progression from being 3-14 to, I mean, what did we finish at 7-10?
4-2 down the stretch too.
Yeah.
Some real signs.
So you look at what the future could hold, and you look at the progression. You get another 3 wins, you're in the playoffs.
Totally.
So that's where I'm at.
And you can't always make the decisions based off the locker room, but I'm sure the locker room, if they had a vote, would say keep Justin. Like, it's clear that you need your quarterback to be a leader. He feels like he's pretty clearly the guy in that locker room right now. Now we've seen teams move on from quarterbacks, end up being okay, but a fascinating decision. But let's play this out one step further. You keep Justin Fields. Are you then saying to yourself, all right, I'm not even going to bother trying to get a trade back from pick 1. I'm just taking Marvin Harrison Jr. right away? Or is the perfect world, all right, I'm keeping Justin, and I'm turning pick 1 into a bunch of other picks and finding a way to get a number 1 wide receiver with whatever draft capital you accumulate?
Yeah, so I think it sounds crazy to trade the number 1 pick 2 years in a row, but I think you'd certainly entertain offers. There's plenty of teams out there that are going to want to move up and give you the farm to get one of these guys because they need them, And you look at Washington. They're a great example of a team that's going to want to move, even if it's, what are they sitting at right now? 2. So, who knows?
You get the farm. From 2 to 1, you might get 1 to 2, you might get the farm.
That's what I'm saying. So if you move in, I'm saying if you can stay in the top 5, you move the pick.
That seems reasonable.
That's for me. If you can stay in the top 5, because, I think Marvin Harrison Jr. is a generational wide receiver.
Yeah.
Whereas I'm not entirely, barring injury, I think he's a generational wide receiver that can change the whole dynamic of the team. Yeah. You have him and DJ Moore. Who are you going to game plan for at that level?
Yeah, pick your poison, right?
Yeah.
Deciding the lesser of 2 evils there.
So that's what I would do if you're starting to trade back. a little further, it's, hit or miss.
Yeah, the draft, as we've seen a million times over, just becomes so unpredictable after like the first 2 or 3 selections. So the further you move from one, all of a sudden the uncertainty starts to grow. Is there anything else on the Bears' wish list for you this offseason?
Oh, man. I mean, I think we need to beef up that defensive line.
Yeah.
I mean, the defense performed way better in the second half of the season. Once Eberflus came in, started calling the plays, and really, they got kind of into the system what they were going to do. So we need to beef up the defensive line, but I really want to do something with Jalen Johnson. I want to keep him.
Yeah.
He's a young cat. He's so good. He's he's a lockdown corner.
All-pro this year.
Yeah, all-pro. And if you have a lockdown corner, that helps the rest of your defense exponentially because they're allowed to make plays. And you saw that in the second half of the season.
Yep.
Way more turnovers. The first 4 games, we were awful at forcing turnovers and getting sacks. And then by the time the second half of the season rolled around, all those numbers started perking up. So
things change fast in the NFL. It feels like this team's collection of blue chip talent changed pretty dramatically.
Yeah,
It
man.
felt like a few years ago the cabinet was largely empty. Now you still got to figure out a couple of last pieces. But if
young
Justin
team, man.
progresses,
Young team. I think second youngest team in the NFL behind the Packers. God bless.
We don't have to bring that up.
God bless.
I don't want to bring it up. I don't want to bring it up. We don't, that's for the next interview we do.
Yeah, but young team, and so we're only moving up from here.
All right, so except for the fact that you have had this incredible run and that you are the hardest working man in WWE, a fighting champion, which at least in these corners is appreciated.
Thank you.
Other than that, you should probably consider being a full-time football analyst.
I want to be a full-time football analyst.
Yeah.
I would love to talk about football on my off days. I do it anyway for free. I would love somebody to pay me and put me on the show so I could do it. That'd be great.
ESPN bosses, keep your ears open. So,
but yeah, man, I would love to do it. Like I said, I talk about football all year long. So I would love to do it on a more regular basis.
He is the best in the business. There is a massive announcement coming tomorrow. That's Thursday here at T-Mobile Arena. Anybody who loves WWE is going to want to be sure to tune into that. Thanks for joining us. And Bears 2025 Super Bowl champions. You heard
Let's
it here
go.
first.
Let's go.